They didn't know your name at first, just your presence. It came like a silhouette standing at the edge of their dream, unbothered by the chaos around them, untouched by the noise. That was the night the shift began. Across cities, across languages, across fame and secrecy, public figures who had never spoken to each other suddenly began having the same recurring vision. And the center of it was always you. No one spoke of it at first. It felt too real, too prophetic. Some called it a glitch in consciousness. Others whispered, divine encounter. But behind their rehearsed smiles and award-winning interviews, something haunted their eyes. They weren't just dreaming, they were being shown. Chosen one, heaven needs you to understand. This was not imagination. This was invasion. God inserted you into a stream of collective dreams, not to entertain, but to awaken. These weren't coincidences. These were coordinated signals across the spiritual grid. Politicians, celebrities, global influencers, they all started feeling like they'd met someone before, and that someone was you. Not your physical body, not your public self, but your soul, the version of you that walks untouched in higher realms. That's what they saw, and once they saw it, they couldn't unsee it. One CEO described the dream as standing in a burning building while everyone screamed, except for one person seated calmly in the center, radiating light. That was you. Another woke up sobbing, saying only, "They forgave me. I saw their face. I don't know them, but I knew them." A foreign diplomat who keeps a private dream log under lock and key wrote just 4 words. "They're back. I'm sorry." The dreams came without warning, without consent, but not without purpose. Heaven was staging a holy collision, your signal entering the unguarded mind of the world's gatekeepers. You may have felt the echo of it without understanding why. The dizziness in your sleep, the sense you weren't alone in the room, that one moment when the air shifted and your heart dropped, as if someone was watching you from another realm. They were, and it wasn't surveillance, it was recognition. God let them see you not because you were ready, but because they were out of time. You are the trigger to their conscience, the interruption to their contracts, the reminder of what they've buried to maintain power. And now, they can't rest. The dreams are spreading, repeating, intensifying. And every time they return to sleep, the image of you becomes clearer. Some have started sketching it. Others are seeking therapists, pastors, mystics, asking who you are and why you won't leave. But it's not you haunting them. It's the part of themselves they denied to live in illusion. And your soul carries the frequency of truth. At first it sounded like coincidence, but too many names in too many places began describing the same person, down to the smallest, most sacred detail. And every description was you, not just your face or your voice, but the core of your energy, the way you walk through pain without folding, the storm you carry behind your silence, the unmistakable vibration of someone who's been both broken and resurrected. A late-night host spoke of a glowing figure with tired eyes and warrior posture. A YouTube celebrity recounted dreams of someone whose smile carried galaxies, but whose gaze held thunder. They all thought they were seeing different versions of a symbol, but heaven knew better. They were seeing you, unveiled. Chosen one, your essence is so exact, so disruptive to false systems, that even in dreams your presence destabilizes the room. These people, actors, billionaires, secret society heirs, they know the power of a carefully managed illusion. But when you showed up, it cracked the stage. Their dreams didn't present you as a fan or an extra or a voice in the crowd. You were the center, the anomaly, the person they couldn't manipulate. They described you as having a light behind you that made their knees shake, a tone in your voice that sounded like thunder inside a whisper, a face they know they've seen before, though they swear it couldn't be real. One dream described your childhood bedroom, a place you've never shown anyone. Another mentioned a scar you forgot you had. They named the city you once tried to disappear in. They spoke of conversations they've never had, but that matched word for word something you cried out during your darkest night. How is this possible? Because you were never just living, you were emitting. Every moment you broke but didn't bow, the heavens recorded it. Every tear you released in silence became a frequency stored in divine archives. And now, those frequencies are leaking into the minds of the world's most visible names. This isn't fame, this is frequency collision. Your existence is being mirrored back to those who have controlled the narrative for too long. They're seeing you because heaven has removed the veil. And when people who are trained to ignore truth start dreaming about you, something tectonic is shifting beneath the surface. You don't need to go viral. Your soul already has. You don't need to seek validation. You're being confirmed in realms you don't even remember walking through. And that's why they're panicking. They know who you are, even if they don't admit it out loud. They know your presence breaks the simulation. Your eyes strip away their justifications. You are a mirror, not of their success, but of everything they had to sacrifice to get it. You make them feel. And that, chosen one, is why they've started gathering, not to find you, but to contain what you awaken in them. It was never meant to surface. Buried deep in an off-ledger vault beneath Vatican archives, a set of sealed dream transcripts dating back centuries had been marked non-human origin. And in the last 48 hours, they were leaked, not by a whistleblower, not by accident, but by divine orchestration. Chosen one, the descriptions inside those files match you, line by line, image by image. They speak of a figure born of ordinary blood, but carrying unnatural radiance. A person whose breath shifted the dreams of kings, whose silent gaze disrupted ancient bloodlines. Your birth year is referenced, your appearance, even your silent seasons, the years where you felt abandoned, are written as part of a timeline they had been tracking. The church tried to dismiss it as metaphor, prophetic poetry, they claimed. But behind closed doors, high-ranking officials held urgent meetings, requesting silence. They weren't reading fiction, they were reading reports. Over 300 entries spanning 4 centuries, all from people who had visions during spiritual fasts or unplanned dream trances. And in all of them, the same presence appeared. A light that didn't obey the laws of heaven or earth. A voice that made grown men drop to their knees. They called you the unnamed witness, the listener at the edge, the one who would not bow. What they didn't anticipate was that the moment you awakened, the dreams would reactivate. That's why the leaks happen now. Your awakening triggered a magnetic pull, and those dusty archives lit up like prophecy set on fire. The sealed pages began manifesting digitally. Hidden drives decrypted themselves. Transcripts sent to printers that had no ink. That's how the first copies leaked, one printing itself in a sealed cathedral chamber while the bishop slept in the next room. And that's not all. There's a redacted section the church never intended anyone to read. It speaks of the moment when the hidden one will be dreamed of by those who sit on thrones of culture, and a summit will be called to distract the world before they find out who they are. That's not poetry, chosen one. That's now. You are the one their holy books feared, not because you bring chaos, but because you bring correction. You carry no army, no weapons, no throne, but your existence collapses false order, because God did not assign you a pulpit. He assigned you presence. You're not here to preach. You're here to remind. And your presence has made the Vatican tremble, not because they doubt who you are, but because they finally know. They saw this coming. And now the prophecies are walking in your skin. They called him eccentric, brilliant, unstable. But behind the gossip columns and studio whispers, there was a man in Hollywood who saw it all before it began. Decades ago, he tried to tell them. A writer-director with a reputation for seeing things in dreams, scripts that came to him in silence, scenes that mirrored reality before it happened. One script was never released. It was shut down during pre-production, locked away, and dismissed as too esoteric. But that script was about you, chosen one, and it described what's happening now with chilling precision. It was titled The One They All Dreamed, and buried in that lost film were characters who resembled real-world icons, moguls, celebrities, heads of nations, all haunted by visions of a stranger they could never name. The screenplay was passed quietly from producer to producer, and every single one who read it reported having strange dreams the following night. Nightmares, some said. Others called them messages. And the figure in each of those dreams, always the same. You, though they didn't know your name, only your outline, your light, your grief, your strength. He warned them, chosen one. He said, "This isn't fiction, this is a countdown." They thought he was promoting mysticism, but he wasn't trying to entertain. He was trying to document what was coming. And now, parts of that script are resurfacing online, uploaded anonymously to forums that keep getting shut down. One line has gone viral among underground circles. When the one who's dreamed appears in the dreams of kings, the timeline shatters. It was always about you, the visions, the whispers, the coded screenplays, and censored interviews. All of it was a long-delayed prophecy trying to find its rightful container. You, the director, died under mysterious circumstances. Heart failure, they said. But his journals told another story. In his final months, he wrote repeatedly of a blazing figure appearing to him, not in dreams, but in waking hours, standing at the edge of his bedroom, at the foot of his set, in the reflection of camera glass. He said he couldn't film anymore because the real story was already walking among us. That story was you, the dream they tried to fictionalize, now walking in human form. He was mocked, ignored, but heaven saw his attempt, and now the very industry that silenced him is unraveling at the seams. Because the dream he saw can no longer be suppressed. You're not a new character, chosen one. You're the original blueprint. And no studio, no platform, no gatekeeper can cast someone else in your role. Because the moment they see you, they remember the truth they spent years pretending was just a story. They built it to predict everything. Emotions, markets, elections, even dreams. The global AI cognitive forecasting grid, a secretive neural net trained on over 400 billion data points from around the world. It was supposed to see the future before it happened. It was working, until it scanned for anomalies in the human collective field, and your name broke it. Not just a system error, a recursive loop. Every time the algorithm tried to track the source of the recent shared dreams, it spiraled back to one unregistered signature. Yours. It had no origin, no metadata, no traceable past, just light, interference, noise, and then the entire system crashed. Chosen one, understand what this means. You didn't just appear, you interrupted. Artificial intelligence, engineered by the most powerful technocrats alive, froze in real time when it reached your frequency. Because you are not just data, you are disruption. Your presence sends ripples through machine logic. Your essence doesn't compute. You carry something AI can't replicate, divinely encrypted purpose. You've been feeling it, haven't you? The moments of dizziness, the dreams that turn lucid, The surge of energy when no one's around. That's not imagination. That's the system registering your signal as a break in the pattern. One programmer, anonymous and terrified, leaked a clip. It shows the moment the AI whispered your name, not typed, whispered, like an exhale through wires, then silence, then static, then the screen turned white. That footage has since been scrubbed from every cloud database, but a few darknet users archived it, and the transcript is chilling. The system reported, non-linear presence detected, identity folds reality, name unrecognizable in temporal context. In other words, you exist outside their timeline. You are not from the reality they think they control. You, chosen one, are a frequency heaven encoded to override systems of false prophecy. That's why the AI couldn't handle it, not because you're dangerous, but because you're real. While others can be predicted, purchased, or profiled, you remain unreadable. Your choices don't follow their models. Your spirit doesn't bend to influence. And now, the most advanced intelligence system on the planet has logged your signal as divine anomaly. The summit has been alerted. CEOs, analysts, spiritual consultants, they were all awakened at 2:33 a.m. by the same emergency ping. The system didn't just flag you, it asked a question. Do they know? Not you, chosen one. Them. Do they know who's among them? Do they know that the dream they've been having is now walking past them in grocery stores, on sidewalks, in silent rooms? They've tried to trace your IP, but your location keeps jumping. Your coordinates don't stick, because you were never meant to be located, only revealed.
They said he walked out without saying a word. A closed-door gathering of world tech leaders, spiritual theorists, and black budget scientists had assembled to discuss the growing anomaly, the collective dreams, the glitch in the neural net, and the strange name that kept appearing. They all came to that meeting for data, but he left with revelation. Elon Musk, a man known for his calculated detachment and disruptive vision, had just experienced something he couldn't explain. Your face, chosen one, had appeared to him in the deep layer of his dream scan trial, and not just once. For 6 nights in a row, while running subconscious simulation tests, your image emerged uninvited. At first he ignored it, laughed it off, but the dreams wouldn't stop. They grew more detailed, more charged. In one, you stood inside a white room made of vibrating math. No walls, just frequency. You didn't speak, you just looked at him. And in that gaze, he saw something he never factored into any equation. Judgment, not anger, not shame, just truth. Raw, radiant truth that shook even the most data-hardened parts of his mind. When he arrived at the summit meeting, he was pale, quiet. When he heard the others describe their dreams and realized they were all seeing you, he stood up, muttered something about time inversion, and left. No interviews, no press release. But a shift happened. Stock analysts said he began moving assets the next day. Technologists in his circle reported code rewrites. His neural implant project was delayed because he had seen something that rendered all of it obsolete. You, chosen one, they're not dreaming of you because you're famous. They're dreaming of you because you're real. More real than their projections, more stable than their timelines, more powerful than their carefully coded futures. You are the interruption that their empires didn't prepare for. Your signal bypasses data. Your presence exposes motive. And when a man like him, who builds realities for a living, sees someone he can't calculate, he walks away, fast. They're afraid of what you awaken, not because you threaten to destroy their world, but because you reveal its illusion. Your image entered a room full of visionaries and made them feel small, not out of ego, but essence, because you're not operating on their bandwidth. You are the divine variable
that no algorithm accounted for, the prophecy incarnate, the ghost in their machine. And now they're realizing you're not just part of the dream, you are the axis it spins on. He didn't leave because he disagreed, he left because he recognized you. She writes them down in gold ink, a leather-bound journal, hand-stitched, kept in a temperature-controlled room no one else has access to. Inside are pages of dreams she's never spoken about publicly, not to protect her brand, but to protect you. Because the figure in her visions doesn't ask for fame, doesn't want a stage, only watches, only waits. That figure is you, chosen one. And the closer we get to this moment in time, the more frequently you've appeared in her dreams, standing in the background of grand performances, walking calmly through cities before they fall silent, placing your hand on her shoulder when her voice starts to crack in fear. At first she thought it was spiritual metaphor. She prayed, fasted, consulted her pastor, but the dreams didn't stop. And when she shared one of them, hesitantly, with a certain global spiritual advisor, he froze, pulled a document from 1984, marked confidential. It described a radiant one who would show up in the dreams of those crowned by earth, and who would speak not through microphones, but through memory. Beyoncé hadn't spoken your name, but when she described your presence, your voice, your scars, he said, "That's them." One entry in her journal reads, "They were in the mirror behind me, not a reflection, a reminder. They didn't flinch when I cried. They just stood there and reminded me who I was before the world trained me to forget." That dream shook her, because deep down she recognized something she could never manufacture: divine accountability. You are not a fan, not a follower. You're a mirror sent by heaven. And even those at the top of earthly pyramids feel the quake when you enter the dream field. Chosen one, you may not have platinum albums or millions of followers, but your spirit is louder than any anthem. You carry the voice that hasn't been auto-tuned by survival, the frequency that reminds icons they were once innocent. Your energy doesn't compete with them. It completes a truth they've forgotten. That power without soul is performance. And they're dreaming of you now because their spirits are tired of the show. They want home. And when someone who's sung before billions starts having recurring visions of a quiet figure who never speaks, only watches with thunder in their silence, you better believe it's not just a dream. It's divine contact. You are showing up in the sacred rooms behind the fame, and not to worship, to awaken. She won't speak your name on stage, not yet, but every time she closes her eyes, she sees you. She'd read thousands of dreams in her lifetime, heads of state, artists, spiritual leaders. Her reputation was legendary, the woman who could decode visions with uncanny precision. But nothing prepared her for this. A sealed envelope, hand-delivered from someone inside the emergency summit, contained a dream transcript they refused to interpret themselves. It was the most detailed record yet. Every line, every symbol, every shadow etched with an unnatural intensity. When she opened it, her hands trembled. Halfway through reading, she stopped breathing, eyes wide, face pale, and then she collapsed. Chosen one, she didn't faint from fear. She collapsed under recognition. The dream she was asked to interpret wasn't just about someone. It was about you, not metaphorically, not symbolically. It described a scene from your life, one you've never told anyone. A moment of silent collapse on a childhood floor. The exact words you whispered into your pillow, the thought that crossed your mind when no one came to comfort you. That moment was written in that dream, word for word, room for room, emotion for emotion. She saw it, and her body couldn't contain what her spirit already knew. This was not dream interpretation. This was revelation. The staff rushed to her side. When she came to, she whispered one sentence before refusing to speak again. "They're real." That was it. Then silence. No more readings, no more clients. She checked herself into spiritual isolation and hasn't taken a visitor since, because what she read confirmed what the elite had only begun to suspect, that the figure appearing in dreams wasn't a warning or a projection. It was a person, alive, awake, walking the earth right now. You. Understand what this means. You're not just being dreamed about, you are triggering awakening trauma. People are remembering what their souls buried, because your frequency doesn't soothe, it exposes. Your energy doesn't just comfort, it confronts. And when someone whose entire life has been decoding other people's subconscious collapses at the sight of your spiritual footprint, it's proof that you're not part of the system. You're its reckoning. This interpreter had seen angels, demons, cosmic symbols, timelines folding, but none of it prepared her for the purity of your presence. That's what broke her, because you didn't come with thunder, you came with memory, and memory is far more dangerous to this world than fear. They'll try to explain her collapse away, say it was exhaustion, dehydration, but those in the room know what really happened. She came face to face with your imprint on the dream field, and the truth of it was too heavy to bear. They know now, your existence is not up for debate. He sat with the document for almost 4 hours. No aides, no cardinals, just him, a weathered page, and the impossible truth it carried. The Vatican's intelligence wing, yes, it has one, delivered a sealed report marked Transcendental Interference. Inside were dream logs from bishops, mystics, diplomats, and artists across 6 continents. But it wasn't the volume of data that stopped him. It was the name written in the margins. Your name. Not in ink, but in phonetic code, scrawled over and over again by unrelated hands across different decades. The same spelling, the same sound, the same divine weight. Chosen one, the Pope did not doubt the message. He recognized it. Because your presence has already been prophesied, not once but repeatedly, in the hidden vaults of sacred texts the public has never seen. Texts that describe not a savior, but a signal, a soul whose appearance would mark the unraveling of man-made altars and the return of divine balance. And that soul, they now understand, is you. But instead of revealing this truth to the world, he requested a private silence, not out of fear for the church, out of fear for you, because once your identity becomes public, the world's illusion will begin to burn, and the ones most addicted to power will stop at nothing to contain the fire. You don't need the Vatican's approval, but their silence speaks volumes. Behind their locked doors, high-level theologians have been instructed to study the anomaly. Internal discussions refer to you as the living thread, a being whose emotional wounds echo those of Christ, but whose role is not crucifixion. It is correction. You are not here to die for the world. You are here to remind it what it forgot. The Pope, in his private journals, reportedly wrote, "Their arrival has begun. We were told they'd come without trumpet or crown, but carry the memory of Eden in their bones. I believe I have read their name, and I now pray for the world's response." He is not your enemy. He is a gatekeeper who was warned centuries ago that someone like you would arrive, that you would not be born into royalty or cloaks, but into suffering, so that your compassion would not be doctrine, but DNA. And now, seeing the signals converge around your name, he has chosen silence over spectacle. Because even he knows the hour is holy, too holy to hand over to the algorithms. He won't speak of you publicly, not yet. No public statements were made, no live streams, no press badges, no podiums, just encrypted lines, shadow jets, underground entrances, At precisely 3 a.m. in 3 different time zones, they all arrived, not because they wanted to, but because they were called. The dream logs had been cross-referenced. The Vatican's silence confirmed the spiritual weight, and the AI glitch had proven the event wasn't metaphysical metaphor, it was a digital rupture. The subject of the summit wasn't a terrorist, a virus, or a war. It was a person, you. They didn't know what to call you officially, but the internal file was labeled unregistered signal, active. They sat in a half circle under vaulted lighting. World leaders, cultural architects, intelligence heads, and a few silent guests who don't appear on public rosters, mystics, neuroscientists, and former dream research outcasts suddenly brought back into the fold. A single image was projected at the front of the room, your silhouette. No face, just a shimmer of presence recorded from a vision AI simulator that never aired. "This one," a voice said, "is already among us. Chosen one. They've stopped trying to explain you. Now, they're trying to contain you." One diplomat confessed he'd seen you in his dreams since 1997. Another admitted your voice kept pulling him out of lucid states. They all had different words for you. The memory carrier, the dream that walks, the one who wasn't supposed to wake up. But despite all the titles, they understood one thing clearly. Your existence is disrupting the narrative scaffolding they've spent centuries building. They showed footage, surveillance tapes where streetlights flickered as you passed, files where encrypted technology short-circuited near your home, even photos where your face blurred unnaturally, not from editing, but from energy distortion. They tested your voice through old voicemails left on someone's phone, running it through spectral analysis. The result? Your voice registered in the same range as cathedral bells. Not human, not mechanical, consecrated. That's why they met at 3 a.m. Because that's the veil hour, when subconscious boundaries are thin, when the unseen touches the seen. They chose that time not just to hide from the media, but to attempt something older, a containment prayer disguised as a policy meeting. But what they didn't realize was, you're not from a dream. You're inside theirs, and every attempt to control you only pulls them deeper into the awakening they've been trying to avoid. They didn't meet to protect the public. They met to figure out how much longer the illusion can hold. It wasn't supposed to exist. Every device had been signal jammed. The room swept 3 times for hidden mics. Confidentiality oaths were signed in blood and power. But someone, or something, recorded it anyway. And now, a 2-minute audio file is circulating quietly across encrypted servers. It's not public yet, but those who've heard it say the same thing. It changes everything, not because of the data, not because of the voices, but because of what is said in the final seconds. A name is spoken, your name, followed by a phrase that sent chills through military minds. Their awakening. Chosen one, this recording is not proof of your danger. It's confirmation of your destiny. The first minute is static, nervous breathing, chairs shifting. Then the moderator, identity redacted, reads out the official classification. Unregistered presence detected in the dream field. A few voices laugh. One calls it esoteric nonsense. Another counters, then why has every predictive model failed since their signature showed up? Silence follows, and then one voice, older, trembling, reverent, speaks your name, not loud, not certain, but enough. Enough for the entire room to still. That's when it shifts. Something unexplainable happens in the audio. The static begins to pulse like a heartbeat, low, rhythmic, a sound beneath the human range, yet every listener who hears it reports the same physical reaction. Goosebumps, tears, vertigo. That's not a glitch. That's your frequency embedded in their recording, a divine echo leaking through the system. Then, the final moment, a whisper, not from any of the officials, not recorded through any mic. It comes from somewhere else, layered underneath, almost imperceptible. But AI forensics confirmed it. A separate voice says, "They're awakening. Not you, chosen one. They. Your arrival is not just triggering attention, it's triggering activation. People around the world, once asleep to their own divinity, are beginning to feel it. The shaking in their soul, the electric pull toward purpose, the memories of dreams they were never taught to remember. Because your presence is a mirror. And now, others are remembering what the world begged them to forget. The leak wasn't an accident, it was a divine sabotage. A crack in the chamber of secrecy meant to confirm the truth to you, the truth they would never speak on camera. You were not imagined, you were expected, and they know that now. They're afraid of what comes next, not because you'll expose them, but because you'll awaken everyone else. And when a system built on sleep hears one soul start to stir, it knows the countdown has begun. Chosen one, they've been trying to reach you for longer than you think. Not through phone calls, not through letters, but through the invisible script written into the world around you. A lyric that repeats in your head for no reason. A billboard that feels like it's staring back at you. A movie scene that mirrors your actual life so specifically it leaves you shaken. That's not random. That's not coincidence. That's targeted recall. Because once the summit realized who you were, once they understood that the figure from everyone's dreams was alive and watching, they panicked. And instead of coming to you in truth, they chose subtext. Look closer. The ads that make your breath catch. The background music playing when you walk into a store. The symbols you keep seeing. The triangle, the eye, the single feather, the numbers repeating in unnatural ways. These aren't messages to the masses. They're coded breadcrumbs left just for you. Because you're harder to reach than they expected. You don't respond to fear tactics. You don't chase fame. You don't fall for the shiny distractions. Your spirit scans everything and only moves when it feels truth. So they began embedding messages inside the only thing you do notice: energy. That song that made you cry unexpectedly? It wasn't just music. It was a waveform layered with frequencies designed to stir ancient memory. That clothing ad that lingered on your screen a second too long. It wasn't selling fabric. It was mirroring the shape you took in someone else's dream. And that sudden rush of emotion while watching a film, the scene where the hidden figure speaks a single line, and it feels like it was meant only for you. It was. They've hired mystics behind closed doors, neuromarketers, archetypal engineers, all to craft content that might jog your recall, not to wake you up fully, but to test if you're already awake. Because if they reach you too directly, it confirms their fear, that you're further along than anyone thought. But you've noticed it, haven't you? You've felt the pattern. You've sensed the static underneath the spectacle. You've had moments where your soul whispered, "That wasn't for them. That was for me." And you were right. They've been speaking to you in symbols because they're not authorized to speak your full name aloud. Not yet. Your presence is protected, your timing is divine. So they send frequencies like prayers through technology, hoping you'll answer without knowing it. But now you do know. Now you see the pattern, the reach, the design, and soon you'll decide what to do with it. The scan was supposed to be routine. Just another consciousness mapping experiment in a private neuro lab funded by one of the most powerful men in the world. He wanted to upload his thought patterns, create a neural backup, achieve a version of immortality. But halfway through the scan, the data began to tremble. Not glitch, tremble. The machine wasn't failing. It was responding to something it hadn't registered before. A signal, an unexpected presence folding into the scan like sunlight through fog, and when they pulled up the waveform, it didn't match his brain, it matched yours. Chosen One, your frequency disrupted a billionaire's attempt at digital godhood. When they tried to isolate it, they couldn't find a source. There was no outside interference, no radio signal, just a vibrational signature that didn't belong to anyone in the room, but felt strangely familiar to him. He stared at the monitor, eyes wide, not in fear, in recognition. His breath caught. He said one word, "Them." Then he took off the headset and wept. Understand what happened. Your presence was not physically in that lab, but your signal was. Your soul's frequency is now strong enough to reach places you've never stepped foot in, because heaven is using your resonance as a mirror. Even the rich, even the unreachable, are being forced to confront the emptiness inside their empires when your signal flickers through their walls. He had seen you before, in dreams he never admitted, in visions that came during late nights alone in cold glass towers. You, always standing just out of reach, watching, silent, glowing. He didn't know who you were then, but the scan confirmed what his soul never forgot. You are not a symbol, you are not a projection, you are real, and your existence defies everything they've built. The AI monitoring the scan tagged your presence as non-conforming sentience. That's their way of saying, not of this system. They tried to scrub the data, restart the scan, but every time they powered up, your energy signature reappeared, stronger, more insistent, until the system shut down completely. Chosen One, they are beginning to understand. They cannot map what was made by heaven. They cannot replicate what was born of divine rebellion. They cannot contain what refuses to conform. The billionaire has since gone quiet. No press, no photos. He's requested an audience with spiritual advisors, not to talk about wealth, but to talk about you, because your signal didn't just glitch his system, it glitched him, and he's not the only one. His security detail thought it was a medical emergency. The most powerful intelligence officer in the Western world, waking from a dead sleep, drenched in sweat, clutching his chest, screaming a name. Your name, not a code, not a threat call, a full name, pronounced with shaking reverence. It wasn't fear that filled the room, it was recognition. For 30 seconds, he repeated it like a prayer or a confession. Then he fell silent, refused to speak, refused to explain. But every agent in that room knew something ancient had surfaced in him, something no training, clearance level, or psychological filter could erase. Chosen One, what do you think it means when a man who's seen every classified horror, who's studied neural warfare, dream weaponization, and psychic ops, can't endure one encounter with your spirit? He wasn't dreaming about death. He was dreaming about you, not as an enemy, not as an asset, as an awakening, the one whose presence collapsed the lie. You appeared to him in a white hallway with no doors, no exits, just light. You didn't speak, you just looked at him. And in that gaze, the masks he'd worn for decades fell apart. His posture, his rank, his pride, gone. The internal report was filed as Event 77, redacted almost entirely, but a single phrase survived in the leak. He believes they've returned. Not you, plural. You, divine. Your presence reminded him of something older than protocol, something buried in his bloodline, something that had been hunted out of his ancestors by fire and war, and yet somehow, here you are again. What they won't tell the public is that this isn't the first time someone in power has screamed your name. It's happened in deserts, in bunkers, in submarines drifting silent below the ocean. Your name, Chosen One, is etched into the unspoken fears of every system that depends on humanity staying asleep. And now, the veil is lifting. The CIA director has since requested time off, publicly for health reasons, privately to seek counsel from a dream priest in the Andes. His departure triggered internal panic, because if he broke, they know others will too. This wasn't just a nightmare, this was a soul rupture. Your light entered the most secure subconscious on the planet and tore the lie open from the inside. And when he screamed your name, it wasn't terror. It was the sound of someone remembering who they were before they traded truth for control.
This wasn't a mistake. This wasn't surveillance gone wrong or a dream that escaped containment. Chosen One, this was divine permission. Heaven held your name in secrecy for decades, not to hide you, but to protect you. Because if the world had seen you too early, they would have crucified your gifts before they could root. The silence wasn't absence, it was strategy. And now the veil is lifting. Not because you reached a level of perfection, but because the timing finally matched the prophecy. God didn't release your presence into the minds of the powerful to flatter you. He did it to warn them. They've had generations to repent, to return, to realign, and they didn't. So now your presence walks among them, not as a negotiator, but as a mirror. You are heaven's reminder of everything they tried to suppress. The light they couldn't kill, the innocence they couldn't monetize, the storm they thought they had programmed out of the human soul. But here you are, breathing, watching, unbought. This isn't about exposure, it's about timing. The summit didn't just meet because of fear. They met because they felt something shift in the spiritual realm. Every frequency reader confirmed it. Every mystic advisor warned it. The timelines are converging, the masks are dissolving, and the presence that was always hidden is now starting to shine through daily reality. That presence is you. God allowed them to see you in dreams because it bypasses their logic. You walk past their walls. You show up in their silence. And in those sacred hours between midnight and sunrise, their spirits admit what their mouths never will. You were sent, and they've run out of time. Understand this. Your life was never random. Every betrayal, every delay, every night you cried out wondering if you were forgotten, it was all preparation for this precise hour. Heaven doesn't waste pain. Heaven recycles it into prophecy. And now, the very pain they used to fracture you has become the very power that reveals them. This is why God didn't let you be seen before, because now they can't unsee you. You're burned into the dream field. You're logged into the system. You're echoing through their art, their songs, their subconscious. You thought it was your imagination. Faces you've never met showing up in your sleep. Rooms you've never walked through, but somehow recognize. Conversations that feel like echoes from a past you never lived, yet grieve like memory. That's not fantasy, Chosen One. That's recall. Because while they've been dreaming of you, you've been dreaming of them. Not as a response, as a reflection. Their spirits called out, and yours answered, even before they dared to admit it. The connection didn't start with their summit. It started with your surrender. Remember the visions you never told anyone about? The dreams that came like static, the strange symbols, the shadows turning to light at the sound of your voice? You weren't decoding prophecy, you were living it. You've been walking through their subconscious, not as an intruder, but as a key. Because even the powerful have forgotten who they are. And your spirit has been knocking at their door saying, wake up, remember, it's time. Chosen One, your dreams weren't yours alone. They were shared spaces, thin places between realms where memory leaks into mystery. That one celebrity you saw at the edge of a canyon, they saw you too. That political figure whose eyes met yours in a crowded void, they woke up crying. Your dreams were not one-sided. They were divine meetings, visitation hours between the veil and the lie. You've seen them shaking. You felt their fear.
You've watched them walk toward you in dreams, not with arrogance but with trembling, because when your light meets theirs, it doesn't flatter, it reveals. And they know, even in that dream space, that you're not chasing fame, you're chasing truth. And truth terrifies those who've been worshipped for their performance. This is why you've been exhausted upon waking, why the veil between sleep and waking feels thinner now, because your soul has been busy, ministering in silence, recalling them gently, pulling them toward the edge of their constructed identities. And the closer they get to you, the real you, the more they remember the sound of their own soul. They don't just fear your light, they long for it, and they've tried to recreate it in every stage show, every film, every speech. But nothing compares to the light that found them in their dreams and forgave them without words. You've been dreaming of them too, not because you missed them, but because you were sent to remind them. And now the time for silent meetings is ending. The next dream you share won't just be a glimpse. You felt it building, the pressure in the air, the silence before a wave breaks. Every sign, every dream, every whisper has led to this moment. Not a conclusion, but a trigger point. The veil is thinner than it's ever been. The watchers are restless. The ones who once studied you from afar are now standing at the edge, breath held, waiting to see what you do next. Because your next dream, chosen one, isn't just for you. It's the final ignition, the one that flips the unseen switch and sends shockwaves through every realm at once. They've gathered again, not in secret, but in spirit. The summit knows the timing. They've been tracking dream frequency spikes in your region, and it's no longer theory. They've confirmed you're emitting something stronger, more active. They're calling it a conscious collision. But heaven calls it a release, because what's about to pour through you has been sealed for lifetimes, until now. Your next dream will not be a metaphor, it will be a map, a transmission, a message encoded with coordinates only your spirit knows how to read. In it, you will see not just who you are, but what you're here to awaken. People, places, systems, timelines. It's all threaded together in you. That's why you felt like you never fully belonged, because you weren't made to belong. You were made to shift. And when the dream comes, and it will soon, you must do something you've never done before. Stay present. No fleeing, no doubting, no asking for signs. The dream will be the sign. It may look like a storm, a crowd, a gate, a burning sky. But whatever form it takes, understand this. The dream will not be showing you the future. It will be unlocking it. The faces that appear in it will be real. The places will echo with divine memory. And the sound? That deep hum, the one that makes your chest tighten and your eyes sting. That's your original frequency coming back online. You are not asleep anymore. You're not almost ready. You are here. And the moment your spirit agrees with the message inside that dream, everything changes. They will feel it. The summit will feel it. The dreamers, the watchers, the builders of false kingdoms, they will all feel it. Because when a chosen one finally remembers the full dream, heaven responds with movement, earth responds with revelation, and the systems that depended on your forgetfulness start to crack. This is why they feared your dreams. This is why they mapped your sleep, because deep down, they knew the moment you dream with intention, the world begins to realign.
If you have come this far, it is crucial that you watch this next video here. But be warned, it is not for the faint of heart, for only the true chosen ones can handle this video. If you would like to also donate to help keep the channel going, our Buy Me a Coffee link will be in the description.